Hey, Jesus Freak 777, it's me, Two Heads, and I'm responding to your video, anything contrary is a lie. There's some problems I had with this video. First of all, you didn't distinguish the two kinds of truths, which are subjective truths and objective truths. Subjective truths are true for some people, but not for others, which you seem to focus on and attack, but you fail to realize that they're still true for the people. You're probably wondering, how can this be? When, every truth is absolute. That's what makes it true, right? Well, let's take a proverb like, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is very true for most people, but would not be true for a club DJ who has to work all night and sleep in all day. The inverse of this proverb would be true for that person. And the Bible is filled with plenty of these kinds of rules and proverbs, and things like rules and proverbs are subjective, even if an authority figure like God said them. You have the free will to rebel against the authority. Doesn't the Bible say that? Objective truths, on the other hand, are scientific or mathematical truths we can either test or have plenty of indirect evidence for. Evolution is an example of an objective truth. The fossil record and genetic evidence indicates that evolution did in fact happen. Yet creationists choose to ignore these evidences and claim that plants and animals cannot evolve beyond their own kind, yet they provide no genetic mechanism that would stop organisms from changing over time. So then you go on to say God alone is truth. Well, God is only a subjective truth to you, because nobody has scientifically discovered God or won a Nobel Prize for it. You also said, I just made an absolute statement about truth being relative. In reality, we shouldn't have that mindset. Science even leaves a margin open for laws that people think are absolute, like gravity, to be disproven. This is called falsifiability. It's what makes the scientific method intellectually honest. Scientific beliefs must be changed when new evidence is discovered. They either must be changed or modified. But religious dogmas, on the other hand, are childish and remain constantly no matter what new evidence suggests. Even subjective truths must be open to being falsified because circumstances in one's life may cause one to adopt new proverbs, new life philosophies, and do away with the old ones. Now, before I go on further, you're probably wondering, well, a lot of things in evolution have been proven false. Well, a lot of things in any scientific theory have been proven false. You don't throw away the theory. What you do is you modify the theory. So, just as a little side note, in case you point that out. You say truth is absolute. Well, I absolutely agree with you. However, due to the imperfect nature of human beings, it would be unwise of us to hold this mindset because we are not omniscient. Then you, apparently to fill in the gap for our lack of omniscience, you say God's truth is absolute. That is still wrong, because how can you know for sure? Most of God's laws are proverbial, or just plain rules which are subjective and cannot be backed by any evidence. A lot of the passages in the Bible were written to specific people at specific times. If you look at Paul's epistles, they're titled by the names of whom he was writing to. This is just as fallacious as saying, my subjective truths are absolute, which is sort of what you're kind of saying. Because remember, different people interpret the Bible differently. What is your standard for interpretation, which is God's standard? Do you have any evidence for this? Another thing, God has yet to be proven to exist in objective reality. So by that fact alone, anybody can write something in the name of God and call it God's absolute truth. So, then, if things could not get any worse, you throw out the biggest false dichotomy in the history of false dichotomies. Either Jesus is true and all of the religions are false, or all the religions are true and Jesus is false. Where did you get that? There are more than two options in this dilemma. What about the option that they could all be false, Jesus included? Or maybe another specific religion is true and the rest are false. Or maybe 2 or 3 might be true and the rest are still false, etc., etc. So you end this video here with, if all of us hold ourselves to the light, we'll see that we're all far away from where we need to be. Who's this all of us? You're only preaching to the choir here. For instance, if you were talking to me and you're saying that the light is the Bible or God's Word, and you're saying, well, tubeheads, you're clearly violating blah 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 rule, it would not really have much of an effect on me, because to me God's an imaginary authority figure. It would be just as tantamount as saying, you violated Santa's better not cry, better watch out, whatever rule. I mean, come on. I think it's time we become a little more rational. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Peace out, guys.